My advice to Tucker, don't go to Israel. Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with that.
So are all Catholics anti-Semites, according to you?
When it comes to the topic of religious liberty, one particular religion seems to enjoy that liberty more than others.
Welcome, new subscribers. Thank you for the support on the last video. Got demonetized, by the way, and I'm still continually learning how to speak on here so that my YouTube will just remain monetized. That's not the main thing on this channel. Like, I'm going to speak the truth, whether I'm monetized or not. But with the goal of trying to do this thing full time, that is how you do it. Ad revenue. That's like the main reason or the main way that YouTube creators can do this full time, because there's a partnership between YouTube and the creator. The creator gets the views, the eyes on it, and then YouTube pays the creator. It's win-win. But if you talk about certain things that they don't like in a certain way, well, they won't monetize the video. Apparently, last video was too much. I don't know what it was. I wish they told me exactly what it was. At this timestamp, I said this specific thing or showed this specific image, and that is where you messed up. I tried to figure this thing out. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me, y'all. So this is a learning process with each video. I don't know if this video is going to be monetized. I don't know, but this is what we got to work with. Anyways, getting into the video, Tucker Carlson apparently detained. Let's go into the tweet. And this whole demonetization thing, it ties into the whole context of this video because it's all about Israel. And that's probably the best word I can say that I think, you know, it wouldn't get looked at in a bad way, because it's literally the name of a country, Israel. But when I say Israel, what I'm really referring to is a certain group of people who want ultimate control. And it's essentially what's happening. Look at this. American citizen and journalist Tucker Carlson detained in Israel after interviewing our U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee. We won't tolerate this. You just made it worse. Congresswoman former Marjorie Taylor Greene. So what are we going to do with this? I hopped onto X as I usually do just to see what's going on and what's trending for the day. And I was not expecting that, y'all. Tucker Carlson detained in Israel. It's a breaking story. I don't know all of what's going on, but this is probably the most descriptive breakdown of what I saw. So Tucker Carlson detained briefly by Israeli officials after Huckabee interview at Ben Gurion Airport. Tucker Carlson traveled to Israel on Wednesday for an in-person interview with the U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee inside Ben Gurion Airport. Did they just repeat themselves? Yeah, I think basically. Anyways, come on, moving forward. The discussion followed a public disagreement in which Carlson questioned protections for Christians in Israel on his podcast. And he's been addressing this, y'all. When Christians go to Israel, they get spit upon. I only want to spit because I don't want spit to go out everywhere. Pause. But he's talked about this a lot. You know, how Christians go to Israel and there's a general thing that happens. You know, where is the freedom of religion? Where is the respect of religion there? You go to Israel as a Christian, it's guaranteed, pretty much guaranteed, you're going to get spit upon if you come across the wrong Israelis, okay? So anyways, moving forward, Carlson arrived by private plane, remained airside, posted a photo on X captioned, "Greetings from Israel," and did not leave the airport grounds. After the interview, Carlson told the Daily Mail that Israel security officials took his and his team's passports. Whoa. Moved his executive producer to a separate room and asked what was discussed with Huckabee. Like, why does it matter? Why do I need to tell you? That's what I would basically feel if I was Carlson here. He called the encounter bizarre, surely is, and said the group departed the country afterward. A U.S. embassy spokesperson in Israel stated Carlson underwent standard passport control procedures given to all visitors, including diplomats, denied any detention, and said embassy involvement was limited to coordinating the private aircraft landing. The spokesperson added that Carlson chose to stay only a few hours. Reports indicated Israeli authorities initially hesitated to grant entry due to Carlson's prior criticism of Israel's Gaza operations, but allowed a visit after the U.S. State Department discussions to avoid diplomatic issues. Well, I'm sure that's too late for that because he's detained from what the reports are saying in Israel. Like, he went there willingly, y'all. He went there willingly. I don't know if I would ever. I used to want to go to Israel because I was like, I want to see the land where Jesus walked and the apostles walked. Now, I think now you have to probably put me at gunpoint to want to go to Israel willingly at this point. I'll probably be worse than be detained there. Anyways, the trip occurred amid reported efforts by the Trump administration to reduce internal Republican disagreements over Israel policy ahead of elections. So this is really weird, y'all. What is happening here? How can our greatest ally just do that? Where's our FBI director, Kash Patel? Tucker Carlson being detained and taken in for questioning in Israel would send shockwaves globally. This could turn into a major international controversy fast. Another 20 trillion to Israel. Basically, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing as Americans. My advice to Tucker, don't go to Israel. Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with that. Like somebody said, Israel is not letting him go that easily. Coming to stay in the airport isn't an option. So now the other part of the video, the other half, was a story that broke out a couple days ago. And I don't know how you pronounce this woman's name. Carrie Boller, maybe Boller. But this is the part where she broke out. She's a Catholic and she disagreed with the whole panel here about this Zionist thing, right? I don't even know if I can say this word without the video getting flagged. What I think happened on my video that got demonetized, I think it was just too much at once. Too much for the algorithm to handle. I talked about Epstein. I talked about Zionism. I talked about, and you know, the atrocities and the horrors that's happened there. I showed pictures and images and just all that stuff together, I think, is what really triggered it. But let's see what happens to this video.
As you know, I'm a Catholic, and Catholics do not embrace Zionism, just so you know. So are all Catholics anti-Semites, according to you?
As I said, anti-Zionism, by denying the right of the Jews to have their own state while not saying the same for any other peoples, that is a double standard, hypocrisy, and anti-Semitism.
So just to be clear, are Catholics anti-Semites?
Carrie, excuse me. I'm going to interrupt.
Well, there has been quite a bit of controversy surrounding the first Religious Liberty Commission panel discussion on anti-Semitism. The fiery woman that you just watched in that video is Carrie Prejean, who has since been fired from this panel entirely.
Just because she doesn't agree with Zionism, okay? And she's free. We have freedom of religion in the US, right? It's part of how this country was founded upon. Oh my goodness, y'all, getting fired up. And I'm not Catholic. Like, I don't agree with what they teach. I believe it's a separate sect. Doesn't even fall in alignment with the Bible, actually. Like, I believe Christianity it's separate from that. However, we really agree on this specific point here. And just like Candace Owens, she's a Catholic, and I've agreed with her on this too. We do not like Zionism, okay? Has nothing to do with any kind of antiseptic stuff. We just don't like the ideology of Zionism. It's actually not fair, and I believe that ideology in and of itself is racist against other peoples that are not a part of that bloodline.
Luckily, we have Carrie with us today, and I've got a lot to ask her. Carrie, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
First, let me just say, I give you a lot of credit for being willing to speak out the way that you spoke out during that discussion. It does seem like, you know, when it comes to the topic of religious liberty, one particular religion seems to enjoy that liberty more than others, and that was perfectly illustrated.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. So Zionism, in and of itself, it seems to put itself on a pedestal of having religious liberties for just that specific belief system, and other religions are subservient to that. So it's pretty much they flipped the script. It's about religious liberties according to what they want, but then they take it away from other specific belief systems that are not in support of their specific ideology. So is it really in support of religious liberty if you push away other religions if you don't agree? I don't agree with, oh, you can't do that. You're a bad person. You're antiseptic. Anyways.
In the exchanges that you had. But I want to start off by kind of getting a better understanding of how you got involved in this commission in the first place.
That's a great question. So I've known the president for almost 20 years now. I was Miss California, went to Miss USA. I'm sure everybody remembers the famous question that I received Do I believe in gay marriage? No, I don't. Went on to be, one of the conservative darlings on the right. And so the president and I remained friends over the years. I supported him relentlessly. And so now, fast forward, that was 2009, fast forward to 2024. And, he wins the election. And then I get a call from the White House one day saying, hey, Carrie, we see that you're a new Catholic and we would love for you to serve on the Religious Liberty Commission. The president has appointed you. So this was a appointment by the president, and only the president has the power to remove me.
The Religious Liberty Commission is what she got fired from because she spoke with her specific religious liberty. Again, I'm not Catholic. I disagree with it. But I can stand up for somebody. I can stand up for religious liberty. If you are in an organization that stands up for religious liberty, and let's say you have a Buddhist that speaks about their specific beliefs and they get fired for their specific Buddhist, whatever they're talking about, talking points. Well, what are we talking about here? And it's really the same thing for any specific belief system. You can't have one specific belief system overruling and have other belief systems subservient to that, or else you're making that the main thing. You're making that the religion that's in control here, which is what's happening. That's what you're seeing right here. There's one specific religion, a man-made religion, that's in control over the, quote, religious liberty institution, or whatever you want to call this.
So, Carrie, there's a controversy as to whether you're actually fired or not, because Dan Patrick says, yeah, you dare to have religious liberty, so obviously you can't be on the Religious Liberty Commission. And doesn't note the irony. And you
can't make this up.
Yeah, totally. And we'll get into all the details in a second, but you say that he does not have the power to remove you from the commission. So where do we stand now?
Yeah, so according to the executive order, I think they thought I was just this dumb blonde bimbo, out in California that was a pageant girl that wasn't catechized well in my Catholic faith, recent convert. Oh, she'll just shut up and obey and she'll just go along with it to, be close to the president and have access. But you know what? My faith and my integrity means more to me than having access to the White House and fancy dinners. So yeah, he doesn't have any authority. Dan Patrick is an equal to mine on this commission. He is a commissioner just as I am. And under the executive order, I've done a little bit of research and spoken to several attorneys. Dan Patrick is overstepping his authority. He has zero authority to remove me, just like I have zero authority to remove him. So I'd appreciate, Dan, I know you probably have aspirations to running for president, but you're not the president. So we'll see what the president does about this. But I don't think he appreciates you overstepping your authority, Dan. You're an equal.
And I think the president is in support of what's happened because, President Trump, quote, converted to Judaism in 2017, yo. And what's his name again? That one guy who was like hugging Trump. He wasn't hugging him, but he was like wrapping his arm around him. He's like, you know what? You're the first Jewish president. First one. And Trump was like, yeah, true. What is his name? It's missing me right now. But so since Trump converted, I'm pretty sure he's not having too much trouble over what has happened to his girl here, Carrie Prejean Boller. I'm pretty sure Trump isn't losing too much sleep over what has happened here.
What's mine?
Carrie, I gotta say, I'm a little bit astounded by your faith in Donald Trump. Okay, you've known him for multiple decades. So obviously you know him on a personal level way better than I ever will. But at the same time, he hasn't stepped up to defend you at all. And in fact, his actions in his second term show me that he is willing to carry water for Zionists over pretty much anyone else. But maybe I'm misreading it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Mark Levin, I think that's the guy's name. It just came to me. I think Mark Levin was the guy that was on the stage with Trump and was like, had his arm around him. You're the first Jewish president. And Trump was like, true. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm very frustrated. I'm very disappointed that he hasn't come forward yet. I have been told that he is getting tremendous pressure from Zionists, Christian Zionists in particular. Let me just tell everybody, it's not the Jews, it's not the Muslims who are attacking me, it's Christian Zionists. Those are the ones who are attacking me. They're mad that I converted to Catholicism, and they're mad that I dared to speak out against Israel because that's their religion. You can't speak out against Israel. And I am here, I ripped the Band-Aid off, I exposed the elephant in the room. It needed to be done. And it took a 38-year-old mom out of California to do it. So shame on everybody that was on that stage that day that the president appointed to uphold religious freedom. And they decided to keep their mouths shut to protect their businesses, protect their corporations, and to protect their access to the president. So I'm hopeful. It's not over yet. I'm hopeful that the president does the right thing. I know he's getting a lot of heat right now from the Catholics. So we'll see what happens.
You know, I caught your interview with Ryan Grimm today. It was a great conversation, and something that caught my attention was what you had.
I wonder if Candace Owens would speak about this. I don't know if she would, because she's a Catholic too. I think this is a matter that Candace should speak on. I don't know, I haven't been keeping up with the podcast recently, but yeah, if she's aware of this, I would think it would be good for her to speak about it.
To say about the pressure campaign to get you to resign even before that panel discussion took place. Can you elaborate on that a little for our audience?
Yes, so it's quite sad, actually. I didn't come forward with this before because I really do believe in religious freedom, and I was honored to be on this commission, and I wanted to do my job, and my job was to protect religious freedom for all, even the religions that I don't hold firm to. So that's really what I was committed to. Well, back up to August, I was starting to speak out about Gaza. I couldn't deny my eyes. I couldn't deny the fact that there were innocent children starving and innocent families slaughtered and bombed, and just the tremendous amount of suffering that I witnessed with my own two eyes. So I started posting, I started talking about it, and I started, posting about what Pope Leo was saying about, the genocide in Gaza. I know he didn't use those words, but I'm using those words because it is a genocide, in fact, a Holocaust. And so I was posting about it, and I was just spreading awareness. Well, I got a call from the White House one day, and it was from the designated federal officer who serves at the White House. And she told me that some people in the White House were concerned about my posts about Gaza and Israel, and that I needed to stop posting about Zionism, and that I'm not allowed to be an anti-Zionist to be on this commission.
Wow.
Crazy. That is absolute insanity. In America, on the Religious Liberty Commission. Okay. What a joke.
Well, fast forward, I told the lady I'm not resigning. There's no reason to resign. And then I see the president at the next hearing, and he came up to me and we had an exchange, and he said, I know you, Carrie, and I know the real you, and you're staying on this commission, obviously. So he had my back then, and so I'm hopeful that he'll have my back now and not gonna cave under Zionist supremacist pressure.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll see what Trump is gonna do, y'all. What do you think? You think Trump is gonna defend her and, just get her back on the commission? Like, what do you think Trump is gonna do about this? I say he does nothing. That's what I think. But if he does something, I'm surprised. And if he does help her to get back on the commission, I would say there's some kind of chess move behind that. It's some kind of play that he's doing. He doesn't really want to support any other religion besides Judaism, but he's doing it because I don't know why, maybe to satisfy too much outrage potentially. But getting back to this, it got interrupted by one of his, the sponsors, which I might have to start doing. I might have to start doing this myself because if these videos continue to get demonetized, and my YouTube channel grows, I'll be able to do sponsorships, and that's how some of these people, they make their money, because they speak about controversial things. So guess what? Their videos don't get monetized, so they do sponsorships. And quite frankly, I'd rather not do them. But when the freedoms of speech get limited and more videos get demonetized, and you're trying to make a living doing this thing.
To cookunity.com/TYT.
CookUnity is a sponsor of TYT. So.
But yeah, there
apparently
was a witch hunt against me, Anna, and it's unfortunate because all I was doing was standing up for life. I'm pro-life, and I have every right to stand up for the innocent lives that were being taken in Gaza. And I wasn't going to deny my eyes. And then fast forward from there, Dan Patrick and Paula White called me shortly thereafter, around end of August, early September. And they said, Carrie, you really got to stop posting on social media. Your job here on this commission is protect the president.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not to protect religious freedom.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I've got.
She said your job is to protect the president, not to protect religious freedom. But she's on the Religious Liberty Committee. Can't make this stuff up, y'all.
That's a really good question. So they gave us, kind of a rundown of what this commission is supposed to do. So we were supposed to have hearings once a month in Washington, D.C. We're supposed to hear from everyday average Americans like myself who are facing religious persecution and silence for their religious beliefs. Which is so ironic. So we've had these hearings since August, and Our job as commissioners is to really talk to everyday average Americans. And we're supposed to take notes. We're supposed to write a report. And then in May, at the end of our term, we're supposed to sit down with President Trump and advise him on what he can do to ensure religious freedom for all Americans, for all religions in this country. He cares. I thought he cared about religious freedom. And so I'm really disappointed in him so far that he hasn't come out in defense of Catholics who 56% of them voted for him in 2024, but yet the only Catholic female on this commission who dared have the guts to speak out for her faith is now being removed. What about you caring about religious freedom, Mr. President?
Right.
So, okay.
I'm a little confused.
Yeah, for sure.
Good place to end the video. So you see Trump's own people, his main supporters that stuck with him through thick and thin, if I could speak, just, the ultimate fans of Trump that got into what they're doing because they want to support the president. His own top supporters are going against him now. This is how, I don't know if they're ever going to wake up, y'all. The MAGA people, the MAGAs, are they ever going to wake up? But his biggest supporters are now questioning his credibility, his authenticity. Is he truly a man of truth, and is he truly a man of principle? That's part of what makes a man a man. A man is a man of his word. You got to be a man of your word, or else you're not a man. If you say one thing and do another, you're not acting as a man in your masculinity, in your God-given masculinity. That's why I try my best to be a man of my word. And if I ever say something that don't do it, I always apologize for that if I catch it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for the new subscribers. And just thank you for the support, because it's really trying times, especially when you are a Christian YouTuber, a believer, and you really want to speak the truth. And then you're being punished for it by YouTube. Speak too much truth. Well, no money for you. Basically what the Bible says. But I still have hope, y'all, because I believe God will just give me wisdom. I constantly pray for wisdom. God will give me the wisdom to help me to win, to help me to be provided for and speak the truth. I really believe in that. I really believe God is provider, and he can do it, and he will do it for the glory of him. Hallelujah. May the Lord keep you. May he bless you. May he shine his face upon you always and give you peace. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and you shall be saved. Amen.